In early 2020, the world was suddenly shaken by the outbreak of COVID-19. What began as a public health crisis rapidly escalated into a global disruption affecting nearly every aspect of daily life. Countries closed their borders, businesses shut down, and millions were forced into lockdown. Indonesia, like many other nations, faced not only a health emergency, but also a severe economic downturn. The impact was particularly harsh on key sectors. The tourism industry collapsed almost overnight. Small and medium enterprises struggled to survive. Manufacturing and textile sectors were hit hard, leading to mass layoffs. How about restaurants? They shut down. Hi, welcome to my presentation. I'm Muchsonah from Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. In this occasion, I will share the result of my investigation on how structured problem solving can foster innovation and creativity among first-year university students. In today's world, students need more than just content knowledge. They also need to develop creative thinking, adapt to changes, and solve complex problems. Innovation and creativity are not optional. They are critical to succeed in uncertain and fast-evolving environments. This study investigates how structured problem-solving tasks can help develop these essential skills in higher education settings. This study focuses on two main goals. The first is to identify how problem-solving projects foster creativity and innovation. The second is to examine how these activities align with students' developmental readiness, particularly within their zone of proximal development, or what we call ZPD. In doing so, we aim to understand both the cognitive and social emotional processes that support the generation and refinement of new ideas. This study is built based on the theoretical framework of creativity, innovation, sociocultural theory, constructivism, and constructionism. Creativity is considered closely tied to problem solving and critical thinking that can be nurtured in classrooms, according to Sawyer. Innovation is an idea, practice, or object that is perceived as new by an individual, team, organization, community, country, or system, according to Roger. Rooted in sociocultural theory, learning is viewed as a socially mediated process where knowledge emerges through interaction and the use of tools. This theory is featured with zone of proximal development, or called ZPD, where learners grow from what they can do independently to what they can achieve with guidance. Another feature is scaffolding, enabling students to handle increasingly complex tasks with confidence. And more knowledgeable other, or MKO, that may include a teacher, peer, or digital resource providing scaffolding that support this growth. This study is also built based on constructivism, where students actively construct knowledge through interaction with their environment. In addition, constructionism is also adopted, emphasizing learning through making using creative expression. By incorporating these theories, the instruction was designed by adopting project-based learning in the following ways. First, although assessments were individual, peer collaboration was embedded, reflecting Vygotsky's emphasizing on learning through interaction. In doing so, students had opportunities to learn from one another throughout the process and encouraging mutual growth. Second, each week, students work on a different component of the problem-solving cycle. The task was scaffolded using process of identifying problems, analyzing contributing factors, researching existing solutions, proposing new ones, and presenting final output in essays and videos. This structure moved students from guided learning toward independent, creative, and innovative thinking. The third, in parallel, students are encouraged to develop critical reading and writing skills, from understanding topic sentences to writing full essays. These skills enhance their ability to generate, organize, and communicate ideas effectively. And mastering these foundational academic skills was essential for presenting their proposed solutions. The goal of designing instruction with this approach was to empower students to become critical thinkers and creative problem solvers with the ability to express complex ideas across various formats, both written and spoken, individually and collaboratively. To explore how this goal was realized in practice, the study employed an exploratory mixed method design, combining both quantitative and qualitative data. The research was conducted in semester 1 of 2021-2022 academic year. Data were collected from students' questionnaire responses, which captured their experiences in class and group discussions, weekly tasks, and final project development. Now, let's look at how students perceive their experiences during class discussion. The finding shows that over 70% of students feel comfortable expressing their ideas, indicating that discussions take place in a supportive and open classroom climate. The second is, despite the positive atmosphere, nearly half of the students remain neutral about contributing ideas. This suggests a need for more strategies to foster active involvement. The third is over 80% of students feel proud when their work is showcased, highlighting the motivational value of public recognition in boosting students' confidence. The fourth is more than 80% report that class discussions help generate new ideas, demonstrating how discussions stimulate creativity and promote deeper thinking. Let's move to students' perception on group discussions in breakout rooms. First, almost 98% of students feel comfortable sharing and asking questions in smaller groups, confirming that breakout rooms offer a safer, more intimate setting for communication. Second, over 87% agree that peer suggestions enrich their understanding, underscoring the strength of group interactions in co-constructing knowledge. Third, more than 82% say that group discussion spark new ideas for their own projects, showing how peer engagement can drive innovation. And the fourth, nearly 90% actively provided comments on their peers' projects, reflecting strong engagement and a willingness to think critically about others' work. Now, let's turn to students' reflections on weekly assignments and their role in supporting learning and project development. First is weekly assignments serve not just as assessments, but as essential steps that keep students focused and progressively build toward their final projects. Second, over two-thirds of the students reported that mind mapping helped them organize their ideas effectively, indicating that it is a beneficial pre-writing technique that should be regularly used. Third, the peer review process received the highest positive response, affirming its role in enhancing writing skills through constructive and collaborative feedback. Next, we explore students' insights on their experience with project-based learning. First, most students acknowledge that the problems they addressed were relevant and urgent, adding meaning and purpose to their project. Second, project work pushed students to think deeply, requiring synthesis, clear structure, and creative solutions. Third, students expressed confidence in the practicality and potential impact of their innovations, showing ownership and belief in their work. Many recognize the importance of credibility and supporting evidence in constructing strong and persuasive arguments. Okay, we continue with additional insights from students' reflection on their project work. The fifth is, although the majority of students were receptive to collaboration and feedback, a few remain hesitant, highlighting the importance of fostering more supportive structures for peer interaction. The sixth, the internet remains the dominant research tool, highlighting the importance of teaching how to assess source reliability. The seventh, many students practice comparing and critically analyzing different sources, an essential academic skills in research-based learning. Finally, students see their current projects not as endpoints, but as foundations for further innovation and exploration. Well, from the findings, five interrelated themes emerge. The first is idea generation, referring to the ability to produce and evolve new ideas throughout the process. The second is collaboration, referring to how students work with peers to share and refine ideas. The third is critical thinking, referring to the practice of analyzing and evaluating information or situations thoughtfully. The fourth is reflection, referring to thinking back on one's process and performance to guide future improvement. And the fifth is development of novel solutions, which refers to the ability to move from basic ideas toward innovative and visible outcomes. These themes do not stand alone. They build on one another, forming a dynamic learning cycle that begins with idea generation and culminates in innovative problem solving. The key strategies for idea generation drawn from the findings are internet research as a starting point. Most students begin their projects with internet research, appreciating its speed and accessibility for inspiration. However, This reliance also raises questions about how students evaluate and build upon these sources, highlighting the need for originality and critical filtering. Second is the role of peer suggestions. Students consistently acknowledge how peer input helps shape and refine their ideas. The collaborative exchange illustrates the value of dialogic learning and the social nature of idea development, aligning with constructivist principles. Third is the power of comparative analysis. Comparing multiple sources was seen as a valuable strategy for avoiding surface level thinking. This approach not only fostered deeper content engagement, but also pushed students to form more complex and thoughtful ideas. Together, these patterns suggest that idea generation is not a solitary process, but one enriched by tools, peers, and critical strategies. The second theme drawn from the findings is collaboration with the following key insights. Many students emphasized how peer feedback led to richer, more diverse ideas, contributing to a more engaging and reflective learning environment. Rubrics and templates, while often overlooked, serve as quiet but powerful tools, ensuring clarity in expectations and facilitating productive group interactions. In this sense, structured guidance acted as scaffolding, enabling students to collaborate more effectively and equitably. In the third theme is critical thinking, which was consistently highlighted, with 94.9% of students affirming the need for deeper engagement beyond factual recall. Students demonstrated higher order thinking, such as making connections, evaluating content, and analyzing ideas, especially during project work. Critical reading strategies proved particularly impactful, with 87.2% reporting improved thinking skills as a result of these practices. These findings suggest that students are not just completing tasks, they are thoughtfully engaging with them and sharpening their cognitive skills in the process. The fourth theme is reflection, which was identified as a key driver of learning and personal growth. Students openly recognize their difficulties, especially with speaking and writing, which shows they are aware of how they learn and think. At the same time, many students felt confident about the solutions they came up with, which shows they were also thinking carefully about their own ideas while solving problems. This balance between recognizing areas for growth and affirming one's strengths reflects a mature and productive approach to reflective learning. Finally, the theme identified is development of novel solutions, as shown in the finding that students showed strong confidence in the outcomes of their projects, describing their solutions as creative, visible, and contextually relevant. Importantly, many drew on prior knowledge, indicating that their innovations were grounded in authentic understanding rather than guesswork. When confidence is paired with strategic thinking and relevant knowledge, students are more likely to generate solutions that are both innovative and meaningful. Well, before concluding the presentation, I would like to share a sample of my students' project developed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The project is titled Mass Layoffs Impact for Local Textile Companies During COVID-19. It focuses on the significant job losses in Indonesia's textile industry, which were caused by a sharp drop in garment demand, changes in consumer behavior, strict social restrictions, and increased competition from imported textiles. The student analyzed how existing solutions, such as salary cuts, were insufficient in addressing the crisis and sustaining workers' livelihoods. In response, the project proposes alternative strategies by reducing work hours instead of layoffs, involving employees in promotional efforts, diversifying production into healthcare essentials, and urging stronger government intervention and support. The project demonstrates critical thinking, contextual awareness, and the ability to propose socially responsive solutions. The study concludes that project-based learning enhances knowledge construction by promoting collaborative and contextualized learning grounded in sociocultural theory. The second is encouraging critical thinking, communication, and meaningful solutions making through peer feedback and scaffolded tools. And the third is supporting students' development of both academic and social competencies via structured and authentic tasks. The study also concludes that creativity is fostered when students 1. Engage with real-world issues, for example, the impact of mass layoffs during COVID-19. 2. Explore diverse strategies that move beyond conventional approaches, sparking imaginative solutions. Work on tasks that are relevant and socially responsive, fueling a sense of purpose and originality. Another conclusion is that innovation emerges first when students propose alternative, out-of-the-box solutions to real challenges, like diversifying into healthcare products and promoting employee engagement. The second is when students tackle complex issues with a social responsibility mindset, leading to more impactful and relevant outcomes. Last but not the least, real-world relevance and future outlook emerge. First, when student work shows how classroom learning can generate tangible outputs that address societal needs. Second is when these practices can grow and improve to help students solve the real-world problems and think more creatively. As we wrap up, I want to highlight that this experience shows the real potential of project-based learning. When students are trusted with real-world problems, they naturally become more creative, thoughtful, and solution-oriented. Grounding our approach in sociocultural theory through interaction, scaffolding, and tools enables students to go beyond surface level understanding. I do hope that we keep creating spaces where students feel supported, challenged, and inspired to make a difference. These are the key sources that help shape today's discussion. Feel free to explore them further. Thank you for joining. I truly appreciate your time and attention throughout this presentation. Bye-bye.